Welcome to episode 12 of the Central PA Pour. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Ben.
Hey, and I'm Brett.
I'm Dave.
And I'm Kevin.
And as Ben said, this is another episode, and we are happy to have some special guests here with us. And we're going to let them introduce themselves, what they do, who they are, and where people can find you. So welcome. It's all you.
Hi, I'm Sharon Reifsnyder. We're Jem's Farm. We're in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. You can find us on social media at Jem's Farm Hops, Instagram, and Facebook.
Nice.
All right.
And I'm Mike Reifsnyder, Jem's Farm, and I pretty much do what she tells me to. So.
Good opening. I love it.
So welcome to the Central PA Pour.
Thank you.
We're glad to have you here, and it's great. And I know that I've kind of read what GEMS stood for. So can you just say what the acronym GEMS stood for? How'd you come up with that name?
Well, actually, it was a mutual friend, or actually a high school friend of ours that used to call our farm Gems, and it was for Gabby, Emily, Mike, and Sharon.
Wow.
So
that's pretty cool.
yeah, so
It's
we just
kinda
morphed
corny,
it into
but
that. Yeah.
It stuck.
And then what got you into this avenue? Is it something you did before?
But growing hops,
Yes.
we were drunk and talking to some friends, and he thought it would be a good idea, and I think that's Actually, most of it was we looked at when we bought our farm in 2008. We wanted to do something with it. We just didn't want to do traditional farming. So we kind of toyed around with a few things between grapes and asparagus and fruit trees and all kinds of stuff. And we had a friend that mentioned that they knew at the time Sunnybray Hops. I'm not sure if you're familiar with them. That they were friends with. He was out of land. So we kind of just looked at it and decided to go that route. It was something different that not everybody does.
Not everybody does.
How do you get into that industry? Were you a home brewer or anything like that? Or you just go up to breweries and say, hey, do you want to try this? Or what?
We originally just started it we just wanted to farm.
Okay.
And so that's why we connected with Adam, because he already had the connections. He was doing all that. And
Gotcha.
I didn't want to have any of that. So I just wanted to retire and farm.
Yeah.
So, and he got out of it. So now we have to do that.
Well, hey, again, thank you for sitting down with us here.
Yeah.
And we're going to find out a little bit more about you guys. But Ben, tell us where they can find us. So we're out there.
You can find us at Central PA Pour on all social media. YouTube, please subscribe to the channel. We're growing that thing, getting that going. Check out our link tree. It's available in all of our episode descriptions and social media descriptions. You can find all of our other social platforms on that link tree, as well as a guest form if you want to come here, hang out, shoot the shit with the boys, or have us to your establishment. We'd love to shine the spotlight on your business as well. So at Central PA Pour, all social.
Yeah, so definitely give us a look up, email us. We love doing this. We're having fun at it, and I think we're getting a little better at it each time.
Yeah.
Hopefully. We also are venturing into some live episodes, so hoping to have a weekly episode like that. So look us up at Central PA Pour and centralpapour@gmail.com. So again, what got you here to Carlisle? What brought you here?
So I'm actually retired from the military, did 22 years in the Navy.
First off, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah, but so we're originally from Lancaster County. So one of our plans were to consider moving back here to retire, and a set of orders came open for Mechanicsburg. So we decided to take them. Figured out if we liked it, we'd stay. If we didn't like it, we could transfer someplace else. So obviously we liked it. So
Stuck around.
yep.
And before we sat down here, your conversation was from the wife that it was time to retire.
Pretty much, yep.
And so we're going to get into what got you into this, but there was a special beer released on Memorial Day, and I think you guys had a very big part in it. Can you tell us a little bit, do you know what it was, what got you into that? How were you approached by that?
So breweries in PA reached out to us, and they were asked if we had what hops we had available in pellets at the time, and they were doing another veteran collaboration, and they reached out last year. I know they did. I can't remember the name of the one, but they used our Comet, and this year they wanted to use the Triple Pearl.
Okay.
So
All right. And it's called Adapt and Overcome.
yes.
Danger Zone. And Ben, you want to tell us a little bit about it? I mean, you got a write up here about what this is all about, and it was hard to get a hold of. I understood. I mean, because Chad and Breweries in PA were really promoting this thing.
Flying off the shelves
And
everywhere.
Yeah.
So-
and Brooks
so-
Amauer left us actually get a couple packs from him.
Yep. So we have the Danger Zone Pale Ale, and this is the third year in a row that Pennsylvania craft breweries have come together for veteran beer collaboration. Shout out to Breweries in PA for their involvement in this collab.
All right.
And this is our first tasting as well. I don't know if we want to get into it at this time. Let's see.
Yeah, I just wanted to chime in on that the proceeds from this goes to the Keystone Military Families Organization.
Yeah. So yeah, let's kind of talk about it as we get ready to taste it. So this is our first tasting.
So it's a 6.3% hazy pale ale brewed with Keystone Pale and Vienna malt. Strata and triple pearl hops were added at various points in the brew to offer consumers flavors and aroma of pineapple, papaya, melon, and berry with a dank and grassy finish. Malt character is supportive and crackery and balances out the subtle bitterness of this fluffy collaborative endeavor. So we usually chime in with like the Untapped. Are you guys familiar with Untapped? We usually chime in with the check-ins and stuff, but every different collaborator that was involved with this had their own check-in, so it was kind of hard to find a total number of check-ins and ratings. I know it's a 5 stars for me, for sure. Not because it's a damn good beer right up my alley, but just
what it's going for.
the benefits behind the beer as well.
Cheers to Adapt and Overcome.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So this beer is brewed by veterans to support the veterans, made with ingredients from veteran-owned businesses, just like your guys's. And the grain and malt are from Deer Creek Malt House in Glen Mills, and some of the hops are from our great guest here at Jem's Farm Hops. I want to keep saying Jem's Hop Farm, but it's Jem's Farm Hops out of Carlisle. And the beer, this one was brewed from, you said Chatty Monks, right? I think that's who was brewing this one.
The one we're drinking, yeah, that's from
And
Chad.
Stone Ridge out of Johnstown.
Correct.
Yeah, it's a good place.
Yeah.
Johnstown.
Johnstown.
So I tell you what, so definitely look us up on Untapped, give us a follow and give us a like.
Very good.
Very good. Citrusy coming through.
Yeah.
Now, we are amateurs, and this is 12th episode. Are you experienced in actually tasting what's in these things? If you taste something without knowing what's in it, can you pull out all the ingredients and that sort of thing?
Sometimes she's more.
Oh, okay.
So Sharon, what are you getting out of this beer? What notes?
Surprisingly, I get a bit of grapefruit out of this.
I do get
Yeah.
a little bit at the very end. I get that grapefruit hit, but otherwise up front it's very crushable. It's juicy to me and citrusy up front. But you're right. There is a little grapefruit dryness that comes at the end.
Yeah.
It's very good. So what hops did you say that you provided for this one?
Triple pearl.
And it's the only hop in it?
No, it also has Strata, I believe, is the other one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think you might have read that and I missed that.
Yeah.
What hops were in it?
Strata and triple pearl.
So they came to you because you're a veteran-owned business to get involved with this. So that's great. And we know the proceeds are all going to basically Pennsylvania, military families. Kevin is a veteran. I'm a veteran. So we are very much appreciative. We bought our glasses as well to support that. I also bought the sticker. I got a sticker to support it. And I think this is from last year's Memorial Day. Oh, this is 2019's brew. I bought that one as well. Anything about vets, I'm all for support. So, thank you for your service. Thank you for helping with this collab. I'm a Ben.
What's up?
I'm going to say this is a 5.0, just not just because of the flavor profile, because normally an IPA it's pretty high for me, but just because of what it is and what it's benefiting. So definitely get out there and support those. I know Stony Run has on tap.
Yep.
I think Tim brewed his own batch with this, so we'll have to get out there and see if he can provide us his sample.
Thanks again to Brooks Amauer for holding some aside for us. I know when I picked it up, there were maybe a case left, a little bit shy of that, so it was definitely flying off the shelves.
So, Michael, what did you do in the Navy?
So I was the aviation ordnance. Pretty much worked on weapon systems for aircraft.
Wow. Like bombs and all that stuff. Is that what
If it went boom, yeah.
okay, okay. I'm just asking because ordinances could be anything.
Right.
Which did you serve on the ships? I mean, was there anything cool about the ships you served on?
I was both ship's company and squadron. Very first command I was in was at A6s out of NAS Oceana, Virginia Beach.
Dave's right up your alley. He's naming planes, and you're right
Yeah.
up. You name them all the time.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, the A6. I'm familiar with it. But this isn't a. I might have missed, but it was on land, right?
The A6.
Yeah, your service was not on a ship.
Oh, I did ship's company also.
Oh, you did
Yep.
ship company also. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think I did 4 med cruises. Something like that, yeah.
Wow, that's kind of nice.
How long did they last, typically?
When I was in, they usually ran about 6 months. Now these guys they don't know when they're getting back half the time.
Wow,
Oh,
it's tough.
you know, I've often wondered or marveled at the guys that can go on a submarine and they're underwater most of the time and they're out there for months. And about 2 weeks they'd have to ship me. They'd be giving me a dinghy and waving by as they so we'll send somebody for you.
That's because you were in a band.
Yeah, well, I was used to a lot of loud music, so I don't know, but that confinement I just couldn't do it. And I think it takes a special person to be able to go down on a submarine. It takes a special person to go out on the ocean for months on end. So I couldn't do it.
No.
Yeah, and that's why when they drafted me, they said,
We walked everywhere.
"Yeah, that's true."
We went from Port Drum to,
Into the mic.
Yeah.
Port Drum
No,
to Egypt
no,
overnight.
what was you saying,
we
Kevin?
walked.
So it's great. I will say I went out to the World War II weekend out at for the Mid Atlantic Air Show, and just seeing some of that old stuff, the planes especially, that's pretty cool. And they had a bunch of the planes that would have been on a ship. I didn't realize how big the dive bombers were, how big those planes actually were back in the 40s. I thought they were just a little bit bigger than a fighter plane, but no, they're enormous things. They're huge. Sharon, what did you do while he was deployed? What was your prior occupation?
Mostly stay-at-home mom.
Stay-at-home
There you
mom?
go.
Yeah, needed some normalcy in the
Okay.
family. So I did work part-time,
Okay.
but once we had our girls, then it was, one of us needed to be available all the time.
Right.
So.
So understand. But it takes a special person to keep the family together when the spouse is deployed, whether it's the male or the female. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
And you've gotten into some other forms of business since then. I think on your guest sheet you had like food trucks, HVAC, anything seems like to stay busy. You guys are on top of that.
Yeah, we've dabbled in quite a few different things. So
Anything to keep things going, right?
that depends on the day. I think we.
And then it's more to what's going to keep him out of trouble. And it's kind of been an interesting time. The food truck was more Michael and our girls when they were teenagers in high school. They just too much diners, drive-ins, and dives, and they were like,
Guy
"Oh,
Fieri.
that looks like fun."
What are you selling out of there? What did you sell out of there?
It was mostly German cuisine.
Okay.
So, but we morphed it depending on where we were going.
Michael
Wow.
makes a very mean schnitzel.
Wow.
Okay.
So I like that stuff.
I just had my first one 2 months ago in Germany. It was crazy.
Yeah, Kevin's been traveling
Yeah.
quite a bit with his new job, so
And he sends us pictures of all the different exotic foods that he eats and everything else, and just makes us hungry.
yeah. So I see you guys. What's your affiliation with Troops Detractors, and how'd that begin?
So we're on the board with Troops Attractors, and that was kind of an accident, I guess. Mimi Booker, who actually runs it, she just reached out to us one day. She's like, "Hey, I'm going to be in your area. Can I stop by?" We're like, okay, who are you? But ever since then, she's been great. She's just, if she can help a veteran out, especially one who's trying to get into farming or who currently is in farming, she has the connections. She's done so much for Pennsylvania farmers, especially, specifically veteran farmers.
Wow, that's pretty cool. I know there are a lot of veteran organizations out there, and it's great to see that they're all providing something, and it's all different. Like you're just saying, this is for veterans like yourself that wanted to get into farming. So I think that's great. What do they actually do for the veteran to get into farming? Do they help seclude the land, or are they make sure he has the right stuff to do to get farming?
The biggest thing she does is makes the connections.
Makes the connections.
And the connections she makes they're crazy. Everything.
She's really, honestly, a force to be reckoned with. Like, she just has this way of interacting with people that she digs in, finds out what you need for your farm, and everybody's different, and she's got connections everywhere.
Wow.
You tell her what you need, and she's on it.
Wow.
She's
I know.
all about the connections.
Yeah, we have a couple organizations that my motorcycle club deal with, and one of them is Roots for Boots, and the other one's For the Love of a Veteran, and they both do tremendous outreach opportunities. Roots for Boots does a lot with the tracked vehicles for veterans that are disabled. So I think she told us last week they supplied already 11 in the last 2 years, and they're scheduled to deliver 12 more.
Wow.
So that's a lot of money for those. So kudos to any organization like that.
What's the season for the hops? I mean, when do you start, and how long does it take? And
So they start coming out of the ground somewhat in March. It really depends on the temperature of the soil.
sure,
Right now, they're in their growing period where they're trying to reach top wire but summer solstice, they'll be at their high point.
okay,
And then after that, it's just a matter of waiting till, I guess, on average, it's about the beginning to the middle of August when we start harvesting.
okay.
Are there a lot of unique, circumstances that the Pennsylvania climate creates? Because, most of them's coming from the Pacific Northwest, right? Mm-hmm. It's certainly not the same thing we have going on here in Pennsylvania. So what unique things do you have to go through?
Here we deal with a lot of issues when it comes to like downy mildew and stuff like that. This isn't the best climate to grow them in, but they can be
Right.
grown here. You just have to pay a little bit more attention to when you're doing it.
Did that help with the selection of the hops you guys chose to grow?
I was just going to ask that.
Yes and no. We tried to get some that were resistant, but at the same time, it was more of the profiles that we were going for.
Okay. And how did you learn this? Since you said you never really did this before. Did you just jump in, or did you do some research, reach out to people?
Well, like I said, when we first started, we were working with somebody else, and he did. He had the background, the experience, and we learned a lot from him. And after that, I started reaching out to, University of Michigan was the big one I did. A lot of internet research. Here in Pennsylvania, we really don't have any support when it comes to growing hops. So,
Where do you sell it? I mean, who buys it, and how far distance-wise?
It's people that make beer.
yeah.
I don't know. It was a thought,
We've actually we've had out of state. Most of it's kept here within Pennsylvania, though.
Okay.
I think the furthest away I mailed was to Texas, to a home brew club down there.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Well, I think what will happen is, your operation may grow.
Literally. Now that's corny.
You said it. I mean,
It was corny.
That wasn't my preferred words, but
How big is your operation right now?
just over 3 acres.
3 acres.
Yeah.
Room for expansion?
Yes, but no.
Yes, but no.
Yes.
Okay.
Initially, we thought we would expand fairly quickly, but then, as most businesses, it morphed. So, like when we started, we had teenagers at home, so we had extra hands, and we recruited their friends to help.
Cheap labor.
Free labor.
There you go.
But, teenagers graduate from high school and they went off to college,
Yep.
and then it was just us. And so we kind of we do things a little different than most of the other farms that we know. Most, well, like all the other farms, we work other jobs as well. So we kind of morphed it to, instead of concentrating on the weekends for harvesting, we morphed our operation so that just Michael and I can do all of our harvesting, which is a little different. Most people bring in teams on the weekends. We've just found it works a little better when we kind of dialed it down a little and just the two of us.
What does that mean? I was going to ask if the family was involved, but you just answered that.
The girls do help when they're available, but
Okay.
So I have no education in this. How do you harvest? I mean, how does all that work? All by hand? And I don't know.
So yeah, you can do it by hand. There's a farm out in Reading area, Fawn Hill.
Okay.
And they do all theirs by hand. They actually have groups of people that come out and just sit around a table, drink wine, drink beer, pick them for them. So I wish we could have that set up, but so shout out to them. But we actually have a harvester.
Okay.
So we'll cut the plants, bring them down, and then we'll bring them over to the harvester and run it through, and it'll pick the hops off.
Yeah.
So is the hop plant a continuous grower, or once it's bloomed and you harvest it, it's done for the year?
It's once and done. Yeah.
Once and done. Okay. It's not like a strawberry plant or raspberry where you just pick the fruit and it keeps blooming until it's done for the season. But so it's a one and done shot. So
Yep.
It's tough.
yeah. So basically, your harvest, you said, is August, right?
Ish.
Ish.
Yeah.
Depending on the weather and all that stuff.
It depends on when they're ready.
Yeah.
So, and every one of them comes in
Different.
different. Yeah.
I was going to ask. That was going to be a question. Is like, do they all come in at once? I know I tried growing peppers and tomatoes up here, and they all came in at once, and kept coming in at once, and it was a pain to keep up.
Yeah, from year to year, it depends too, because we'll get anywhere from 5 to 7 days that we can harvest them, and then after that, they start going bad.
I think we've asked a lot of our guests this, but did the pandemic, which I hate bringing it up, but we always have to ask it, did it affect your business at all?
Not at all.
Not at all.
Oh, that's
No.
good.
Yeah, I mean, the benefits, like she said, was having the farm. I would have gone stir crazy if I didn't have that to go out every day and do something.
Wow.
So I think it helped our marriage, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this going to be an edit part?
No, he spent a lot of time out in the field. It was just that time of year when the farm starts ramping up. So it was perfect because he's not one to sit still at all. So that was good timing.
That's good. Because we found doing this that a lot of people had to learn new ways to create revenue and change their business model, including mine. I'm in auto repair, so it didn't really affect us that much, but we still had to make some changes to the way we do everyday procedures. So I'm getting a little thirsty. How about you guys?
Yeah, tell us about beer too, Brett.
All right, so it's South County Brewing. It's a premium lager. Yeah, it's from York. 4.2 ABV, 15 IBUs, 1,000 check-ins with an average rating of 3.78. It's a classic American lager, a touch of sweetness, notes of grain, and a delicate yeast character, and a touch of hops. Very crisp and easy on the palate. Cheers. So the South County, I definitely would recommend. I was there. Gorgeous facility. Have you seen pictures of it?
Not familiar with that one.
I would check it out. Brewers in PA promoted the crap out of that on their page and stuff like that when they were building it. It is a huge facility up, down off Leaders Heights. So I definitely would recommend anybody out there. It is a destination. Go and enjoy it. Make your reservations ahead of time because it's usually full, especially on weekends. They make some great beers. They've been around a long time, but it is definitely worth visiting that new location. But it's kind of light and crisp.
Mm-hmm. It's good.
Get the sweetness for sure.
I do get a little sweetness out of it.
Yeah.
So tell us what you're tasting. Your palate's probably better than ours.
I don't know about better. Just very different.
Our normal scale is like, yeah, I can drink a pint of that, or yeah, I can drink 2 pints of that.
No, it's nice and light. Like you said, Chris, I catch a slight hint of like a ghost, a slight saltiness.
A little saltiness to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kind of at the very end. I get that. It almost reminds me of that Molly Pitcher later lager that we tried, that Carlisle Light thing. It's not bad. I'm not going to say it's something I would drink every day, but I could see drinking this in the summertime coming up. So yeah, again, follow us on Untapped. All 4 of us are on. We can grow that network as well if you look us up, and we'll post those. Those are all in our bios as well.
Yep.
I'm gonna say I'm just gonna give this like a 3.25. I'm not real. It's not one of my higher ones, but it's not bad. It's pretty good.
So your guys' second career, real estate?
Or is that the 5th career?
Oh,
I'd say it's probably second for me,
yeah.
and like 7, 8, 9 for Michael.
Yeah.
Something along those
Yeah.
lines. Real estate is my focus.
Okay.
Has been since shortly after we moved to Pennsylvania. It's been a tremendously rewarding career for me.
Anything specific, like just houses or a little everything, or business?
Focus on residential.
Okay.
We do, the military background, and having moved ourselves, we do a lot of relocations.
Okay.
People coming in from out of state seem to find us fairly often. So, we've moved our family, so we understand
Yeah.
what that's like to be moving across several states and, having to rely on someone else to help find your
Sure.
next home. So, it started getting really busy a few years ago, so it made sense for Mike to get his real estate license as well. And so he joined me. He says he's
I'm the driver.
That's good that you can work together like that.
Something a little different. It was not really on that subject, but I was just kind of curious. We were, Brett's been asking you about being able to pull out, what's in the beer, do hops. And do you, both of you have the same fondness of the same beers, or do you find that I like stouts? Because the 4 of us, when we first got together, we were completely different. I mean,
Well, 3 of us were close, and 1 was
Yeah.
not.
well, yeah. You said if 3 of
Well.
us are close, yeah, it was 3 of us would drink beer, drink a stout, and we would be or a lager, and we would be happy with that. But Mr. IPA guy over here, he was definitely IPA. He liked his IPAs, but we've changed a bit, and also I'm not going to call him Ben. Kevin and I also liked spirits. We protect bourbon, Scotch. I like Scotch, and then Brett's first a sample of Scotch was classic.
Oh no, no. We're gonna bring that story up.
He almost poured it out, but
His high-end Scotch. I was like,
but anyway, do you guys like similar beers, or do you just
Absolutely not.
Oh, you're a 180 out. I could just look at you and tell you, oh, they're 180 out.
Yeah.
so what beer styles do you guys enjoy, or what do you enjoy beverage-wise?
I like IPAs, pale ales, stuff
There you
like
go.
that.
I'm sorry.
Ben's over here shaking his head.
And tequila.
And tequila.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Even better.
So, yeah.
All right.
And she likes pretty much everything else.
Oh, there you go.
Do you find yourself like just like if you're home on an evening, just I want a beer tonight, or I want some like a cocktail or something like that, or just strictly beer, or not?
No, we mix it up.
Mix it
It's-
up.
Yeah.
There you go.
I can't mix. Ask Kevin over there.
Now,
So-
I would join you for the scotch.
There you go. I like it.
So
Kind of
the-
like our previous episode. Go ahead, Ben.
Which
with
one?
the Mason Dixon.
Oh gosh, she gave me like a 128 proof rum and said, "Oh, well, I made funny faces. It was rough. It was rough. I don't dabble in that too often." But so, do your hops that you grow, did that come from your tastes or the industry needs or what?
I'd say it was more industry needs.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are the hops that you grow? I mean, how many you grow and what are they?
So we have 5 varieties. We grow Comet, Triple Pearl, Tahoma, Mount Hood, and Newport.
Okay. And each of them brings something different to the palate or
Correct,
to the beer.
Correct.
They all have a different characteristic. So that's pretty cool. And you say you got 3.5 acres. Now you plant X amount. Are they all equal amounts for each hop, or is it one gets more or the other depending on?
Well, they're perennial, so we one time done.
Right.
Because if we had to plant them every year, we would not do this. It's a lot of work. She will agree.
We're going to put her on camera.
Yeah, we
for a
should.
song.
We should.
But yeah, we have 2 of the biggest varieties we have is our Triple Pearl and our Comet.
Okay.
And then we have smaller amounts of the other 3.
All right. So so you got more. You take kind of like a business. You're looking at what's the most produced. I mean, what's the most wanted. So you're going to make more of that, and just like that. So that's pretty good. I think it's great to have a local hops gut per people in this area. I think there's 1 or 2 more in the vicinity in this area that do hops. I think.
Well, see, we're trying to find that out ourselves. I know.
This is our 12th episode, and this is our first time obviously having hop farmers on.
Right.
We've had 10 breweries and 1 distillery. So
Yeah, so-
we're trying to.
Yeah, one of the things we're working with right now was we reached out, try and get a grant through PLCB to try to start a hop guild.
Okay.
That was unsuccessful. But Alison Feeney, I'm not sure if you're familiar with her. She's a professor down at Shippensburg. She wrote a book called For the Love of Beer.
We'll have to look at that up.
She did get a micro or whatever it's called, a small grant to help us at least do some GIS mapping, try and find the different hop farmers that are out there in Pennsylvania.
That's another one.
And also to know what varieties they have. From some of the breweries we've reached out to, they really weren't aware that we do grow hops here in PA on a commercial scale.
Yeah, and I think that's what, like Ben had mentioned earlier. A lot of them come from the upper northwest of the country because I guess the climate up there and the soil is just perfect for it. And they don't think about other areas in this country that can grow it and at a commercial level and provide a quality product.
Right.
I think it's just I think it's great, and like Kevin said, we kind of know what hops are. We kind of touched on it in one of our first episodes, what lupulin was and all that. I just think it's interesting, and just the knowledge that you guys had to come up with to get into this, as far as growing a hop. And hey, I'm just going to grow hops. Do you get a lot of home brewers that come and get your stuff too?
We have a handful that do. I guess every year we at least have what's it called, a rehab. The Harrisburg area homebrewers, they'll come out, they'll do a picnic at our place. This year, Cox Brewing, they're going to be coming out to do the same. They have a home brew club that meets there. So we're getting a little bit more attention.
And I think with this collaboration that we had talked about with the Adapt and Overcome will really help you guys as well. Promote your business. Community-wise, what do you guys all do community-wise? You had mentioned with your real estate, you're really trying to help veterans like your family was. Any other community outreach that you guys get into?
We just some local stuff. We're part of our rec board for our township. We help at the local food bank in West Pennsboro. But we've slowed down from a lot of the stuff we used to do.
Yeah,
So,
you can only spread yourself so thin before it gets real thin.
yeah.
Speaking of, my wife is from Carlisle.
Okay.
So whereabouts in Carlisle are you guys again?
We're outside of Carlisle.
Or outside of Carlisle?
Yeah. We're a Carlisle address, but we're more towards Newville, Plainfield area.
Okay. Yeah. So when I met my wife, she said, I called her. She lived in a bubble because she comes down here and meets me, and we, well, I never heard of that. I never did that. I'm like, well, it's because you lived in a bubble. You lived in Carlisle. I'm just picking on her.
Yeah.
Going back a little bit, Ben, there's a second career for you. Mapping out.
What's that? Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
this
this
is-
is the funny.
He's a GIS guy.
Yeah, I will talk to anybody And I'd say 1 time out of 10, maybe they'd know what GIS is. And you guys are the third people to mention GIS on our show here. So
That's right.
thank you.
That's right.
Ben may be able to help you with that.
Yeah, take him up on that.
Yeah.
Any future plans? I mean, with the business, real estate, any other businesses you want to dabble in, or
No more business.
no more business?
Businesses.
We'll talk later.
Oh, that sounds like an idea that was brewing.
There's always something brewing with him. Always. He's just not one to sit still. He is always working.
That's kind of what my wife says. It's just like, I love her because she just lets me be me.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, sometimes it's good, and sometimes, most of the time, it's bad. It takes a lot of time.
What was it? What was the name of that farmer? Farmer Yasser that had a farm, and he decided to put a stage on it and invite 1 million people on up back in Woodstock. You
Woodstock.
thinking something like that, maybe.
Yeah, any Woodstock fan? Oh, he just
Someone keeps talking about putting a yurt on the property.
No,
so
a
that's-
tiny house would do.
It's changed.
There you go.
Yeah. There's a spot on our farm about halfway through the hop field. Used to be the girls, they called it their hobo hut, their little playhouse when they were growing up, when we first moved to the farm. Now that they're off to college, not being used, it's a little hill that overlooks the hop yard.
Oh, wow.
I keep telling him it'd be a perfect spot for either a yurt or a tiny house. Just,
Are you thinking like an Airbnb or for your own
Yeah.
pleasure?
That's kind of cool.
Airbnb.
Okay.
For me to stay when I make her mad. Yeah.
but when you get kicked out of the main house.
That's a farther walk than the couch, man. Oh, man.
So we do touch on some new brewery segments. Sorry, Ben, did you have something else, or is that?
No, that's what I was going to segue into. Yeah, we like to shine some light on some of the newer breweries that have been popping up in the area. Not only new breweries, but this one in particular is a brewery that's been established, but they're extending into our area. So we have, for this segment, we have Alecraft Brewery. And like I said, they are new to us. So Brad and Aaron, husband and wife, they started Alecraft in 2017. They had met in college, started homebrewing, doing brewery tours, like we hear so much about. A lot of these stories are very similar. Right now, they have a 2-barrel operation in Bel Air, Maryland, and they partner with Bird's Nest Barbecue for their food. They're expanding into New Freedom in York County.
Oh, cool.
They said they've always had York in the back of their minds as a place to expand. And they plan on opening a 7-barrel system, and they also have a space for a canning line in the near future. And like many of the other ones, South County that we just talked about, they're aiming to make a destination experience. They're going with like a farm brewery style route, outdoor space, large interior tap room, and they're also going to be trying to grow their own hops as well. So they're also going to have a espresso bar, a coffee bar. My wife would love that. And let me see. We're going to be reaching out to them as we do with everybody in this segment. So shout out to Alecraft Brewery for expanding into York into the near future. That should be open July, August, I believe it was. So keep an eye out for them.
I think I know where they're at, or where they're looking to. When I did that, the Sips and Shenanigans with brewery tours, to the right, I think Glenn had mentioned on that train ride that's where Alecraft is going to be coming into. So I didn't really pay attention because I was having too much fun indulging in the beverages.
And we like to shine some light on the new people into the industry, but we're
Yes.
trying to do this every 2-4 weeks. There's not going to be a new brewery every 2
Right.
weeks. So, sometimes it's something like this, shining a light onto somebody that's coming into our local Central PA area. So shout out to them.
Yeah, what else you want to shout out to there? The Hopped Up Network. We're still trying to reach out to those
we're
guys.
working on that. Hopped Up Network, they're an independent podcast network. They have people from all over the place, independent podcast, beer podcasters like ourselves, and we are looking into that. We have some conversations going on. We are hoping to be affiliated with them very soon. All they require is you talk about 50% like educational material or interviews, and by all means, we cover more than that. So we are looking forward to that relationship, and I'll keep you guys posted on that one.
And we're hitting all avenues of
Yep.
craft. I think, Ben, you had mentioned about why we just named it the Central PA Pours. And it's not we focus on beer because that's what our love is. Well, besides Dave and Kevin over there, but we've converted them. But so we focus on beer, but we're not just limiting ourselves to beer. We're trying to get in other avenues and letting it open to, because there's more craft industries out there than just beer. There's wineries, cideries, meads.
Speaking of wineries, I saw this fun note, and this might be the first time we bring up something educational or informational about wine. But hey, I saw this, actually, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania Facebook page shared this. And you're never 1 hour away, more than 1 hour away from a winery anywhere in the state. Pennsylvania has more than 300 wineries that make more than 2 million gallons of wine each year. And nationally, the state ranks 5th in grape production and 7th in wine production.
And that's something.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
That's pretty good numbers. And we had mentioned the breweries in PA you guys brought up. For anybody that's on Facebook that likes craft beer, Brews in PA they put out a ton of information. I don't know how they have time to do it, but they do it. And we're trying to get them on here as well, whether it's remotely or we bring them on in-house or whatever. But they had an article discussing the number of craft breweries in Pennsylvania. In 2011, there was only 88 breweries in PA. Craft, not Yingling's not counting that.
Thought they were the largest.
Yeah. And now they are
Largest craft.
roughly 480 craft brew houses in Pennsylvania. So that's just showing how this industry is continuing to grow. And like you said about the wineries and stuff, they're just popping up, which was only going to help you guys,
Right.
hopefully.
Yeah.
So how can people, I mean, can they reach out to you guys if they're looking for hops? I mean, how do they get in touch with you? How do you market your business?
Actually, most of it's social media.
Social media?
Yeah.
Now, is there an uptick in any of that after your Port in PA feature? I think that's actually how we found you on that video, because we had those guys on as guests, and then shortly after that, we were going through their library and we saw your feature on there.
A lot of times, it really depends on like who releases a beer that has our hops in it.
Okay.
I think the very first time we did something with Free Will out of towards Philly,
Yep, been there. That's pretty good.
that we saw a really big spike and people starting to follow us, and it kind of just morphed from there.
Yeah, because their Freshie is so popular, and they used our hops in that for a couple of years.
Yeah.
So that gave us a lot of traction.
That's good, and I think hopefully it continues to get more traction for you. So-
The interesting thing, people know Free Will, that's one of the bigger ones, but I think part of our love, because we're, a small farm, our love is the smaller breweries. That, that's kind of our niche too. I mean, we'll work with anybody, of course, but, these nano breweries and, the smaller guys, that's our love. That's our passion, because there's a lot of similarities between brewing and, running your brewery and running a hop farm. There's a lot of similarities there, and just the small guys, I hate to say that like that, but at the Adapt and Overcome, for instance, we attended the brew day out in Jonestown, and so often when we get to go to those, the brewers start off with, "Oh, we're just a small system," and we're like, we love that. You do such more unique things quite often when it's a small batch system,
Right.
That is just right up our alley. That those kind of one-offs or something super unique. I don't know. We've heard from brewers that we know some that go and forage things for a brew, and all kinds of crazy, unique things that are just fabulous.
And I think that's one of the things we've talked about many times is the craft industry alone brings so much different taste.
So
profiles.
creative.
Yes.
Like genius masterminds,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Just-
The interesting thing is whether you take, downtown New York or even Hanover now as they're growing, these smaller businesses, family backing, they're revitalizing these towns, taking the not so prettiness, going to the side. They're putting the money in, collaborating, and it's a small world. So, and it's not as simple as every every Pilsner is the same, but you're talking, as we heard during the pandemic, hey, can I borrow some, hops of whatever? And people are just reaching out. And it's so, I would never thought getting into this podcast that we would hear such stories. And it's really nice.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, one of the things we like, I mean, I'm going to call out Lindgren Brewery specifically. Their motto is adventurously brewed, and they truly live by it. What was it? I forget what year it was. I was cleaning up our Oast when we were done with the season, and on the bottom we had this real thin layer of Lumplin. And I'm just sweeping it up. I'm like, what the hell am I going to do with this? So I reached out to Jason, and I was like, hey, you want to use this? And every year now he's making something new, just
With that,
with whatever leftover stuff we have that fell to the bottom of the Oast or whatever. He's just trying new things and different things.
that almost sounds like where that Phantasm powder came from.
Yeah.
From the grapes. After they've been crushed for the wine, they dispose of it. But craft hop places got a hold of this thing, and now they make called Phantasm powder out of the grape skins because there's still flavors and alpha acids in them. So
Unique
it
stuff.
might be a new avenue for you guys.
But we just like the creative, genius that they can be sometimes. It's like, hey, let's try this. And that's when Sharon was talking about foraging. Jason's made some Groots and stuff like that. It's just, I can't remember what they call it, their homebrew series or something like that, where they're just making small batch of this and that. And some of it's good, some of it not so much, but
But it's all creative.
yeah, it's all creative.
It is creative, so
Yeah.
I think it's great. What else you guys got here?
We got a couple more beers.
I was just going to say that. I was just going to pick up my third one. And
All right, so what's number 3?
Yeah. Number 3 is I have the beer notes here, the Trog's Independent Brewing Trail Day Dry Hopped Pilsner.
Trogs, Dave.
Frogs.
Trogs.
Frogs.
Trog. It's
Trogs.
Trog.
I understand why I mispronounced that because,
Oh, I forgot the little.
yeah.
What do you call that?
You should put that on there, No.
I don't even know the name of it.
But we have this, and we're going to give this one a try. It's the beer notes here says this is the beer you want in hand when your compass lands you at the trail's end. That sounds interesting. I've known a lot of hikers. Believe me,
your son.
my son has introduced me to quite a few hiking. He hiked the Appalachian Trail from beginning to end. I couldn't have done it. I'd be just like the guy that was in the submarine. No, can't do it. So this is starting with the backbone of German Pilsner malt. This refreshing Pilsner is dry hopped with mildly citrusy and earthy Saaz hops. And you can help me with that one. SAAZ hops. And as fermentation slows, we reintroduce fresh lager yeast, conditioning with the beer and delivering crisp and clean notes of biscuit, dried spice, and a hint of citrus.
And beneath all of that is a foundation of good. When you buy a Trail Day, you are helping protect the Kidney Ridge, a 185-foot Appalachian superhighway that provides clean water, rich forest, and safe passage for migratory wildlife.
Very good.
All right, so cheers.
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 A portion of the proceeds from Trail Day sales will benefit the Trogs Trail Day Fund to help protect 15 acres of the most critical connected lands on the next to the ridge from the Mason-Dixon line into New York State and through the Delaware Water Group.
All right, so this is the Trogs Dry Hop Pilsner, so it's actually pretty good. It's a little dry.
Get that dry.
It is
hop for
dry.
Sure.
Yes.
So, Sharon, what do you think of that? I am putting you on the spot because I think your palate's a little bit more advanced than ours.
I don't know about advanced. I actually was waiting for Michael to share this story about how different our palates are. I would say I'm not quite a fan of this one, the dry hop on this particular one. I don't think Saaz isn't in the same family as Comet. Okay.
So how did you pronounce that? I think Dave was looking for Saaz.
Saaz.
That's
think
Say
it's-
as.
I'm sorry, I did mispronounce Trogs because the umlaut was not present in the.
Did you just look that word up on the phone?
No.
So we do have a special guest here that popped up on our camera. Would you like to introduce her?
Who are you?
The hitchhiker.
This is actually our youngest daughter, Gabby. So she is not 12, so, even though she might look it.
She is almost ready to partake in this legally. Look at that. Yeah, that's why she didn't want to join this. Because don't tell them. Hey, we were all teenagers once too. So welcome.
Thank
Glad
you.
to have you on here for our last. I mean, we sat back here and I was like, "You're coming on. We're putting you on the spot." So, what do you help them with anything, or what do you do?
When I'm home, I help out. I mean, I come home right in time to hang core sometimes, and then you take over most of the stuff during the summer. Sometimes I'm home to harvest before I head out to school. Kind of depends.
So, what are you doing in school?
I'm going for elementary and special education.
Wow!
Oh,
Congratulations. Where at?
Waynesburg University. It's a really small school out towards Pittsburgh.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Good luck. And I mean, second year,
Going into my third year.
third year.
Yep.
So, yeah. So she's not 12, folks.
yeah.
Yep.
Well, good luck to you. Glad to have you sitting in with us. We've had a very good time here with you guys. This has been great. As far as this Pilsner, I'm kind of same thing. Like a 3.25 for me. I mean, Ben, it's kind of more up your the dry hoppiness is more up yours.
Yeah, the hopping in the Pilsner, or the dry hop in the Pilsner is unique for sure. I like it. It comes off a little bit dry, a little bit hoppy, obviously.
Yeah,
But
I think the malt characteristics of the Pilsner brings it up. But yeah, I'm gonna say 3.25. Where are you guys at?
I'm not quite. I'm sort of like in line with Sharon. It's a good beer, but I'm just it's not exactly my cup of tea. But I would drink it. I would definitely drink
I'd
it.
drink it
It's-
too.
Oh, yeah.
I'd
But it's
drink
not one of
anything.
the we've had beers where you finish the bottle and you're on to the next one.
Yeah.
But but it is a good beer. I do enjoy it. I do enjoy a Pilsner. I do.
Yep. I enjoy Pilsner.
This
Kev?
reminds me of one of the wineries that we stopped in central New York. The dryness of it. There's just a flavor or something in that I can't get that reminds me of that.
Trogs does a lot of interesting stuff.
They do,
Have
yeah.
you guys ever worked with Trogs? Maybe we have to try and put that good word in for you. That's a big production company, though. And I think what you said, you prefer the smaller independents to help out.
We just seem to connect a lot closer with some of the smaller breweries. I mean,
Like Yingling.
Yeah. Small family-owned business.
Small family-owned business. Yeah.
well, and that's really what we're about is the connection.
Right.
Molly Pitcher in Carlisle, they know us when we go in there. They come out to our farm all the time, Lingren the same. There's, a handful in the area that, there's just a family connection there. The same, there's some breweries out in the Percy, Hatboro area that, you get to know the families and, so many of the breweries, it's the heart and soul of the family
Yeah.
that's brought their vision together. And so, that's what it's about for us.
And I think that's what we're finding doing this and bringing guests in and talking to people and meeting the people in this industry. It's phenomenal, and we're making all these connections. And you hear the stories like Kevin had mentioned earlier, the stories that we didn't think where these stories were ever going to go, and it's great to hear. Just like you guys, veteran, retired, come back to your grassroots area. Start farming hops out of the unknown. And do you guys go to like the craft beer festivals or something like that, like up to the farm show? Because we've heard of some of these places that, like the breweries do this a lot. Do hop farms do something like that? Maybe set up a tent or a vendor spot to kind of put your product out in front of other people?
We had somewhat did it right before COVID hit. We set up at the farm show. It was under the Know Your Farmer section, but that's the last time we've set up for anything like that.
Okay. Well, I mean, there are a lot of festivals and stuff coming up this summer. You know, we're gonna promote the good word out for you, and we're glad you guys took the time to come down here.
Well, and love to have you guys out to the farm to.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, that would
see
be
it
great.
in person. I don't think any of us understood really what it was when we got into it, and just all the unique little parts of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you guys, thank you. Gabby, thanks for sitting in on our last little egg segment here. She goes, all smiles. She goes, no, I'm good. I'm just going to stay here. I'm like, no, we're putting you in. You sat here long enough. Good luck with your schooling.
Thank you.
Kevin, Dave, anything last thing?
No, I'm good. I tell you, I wouldn't mind coming out to see your farm. I would love to see the process. You know, like the harvesting. You know, like you said, you have a harvester, and I like to see how that would work and how it would run. And I'm not a farm boy, so you know that's obvious. But I have gone out to different farms occasionally, done some hunting on some farms. Yes, I have hunted. And
You did?
Yes, I have. And but it's interesting. But I've never been to a hops farm. That would be cool to see. That would be pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely come on out.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, we always say right after summer solstice is the best because everything's at the top wire. Things are starting to really bloom.
Oh, okay.
Put you on the back of the tractor, throw some stuff at you.
Yeah.
Trust me, I know what farming's about. I mean, growing up, you baled hay. You did everything you could. Now, I wasn't a farmer, but I helped farmers. You know, my aunt and uncle did it. We used to ride three-wheelers and ATVs and motorcycles, snowmobiles in a farmer house. And we got to do that because we used to help farm. I hated baling hay. Oh, it's always in the heat of the summer. It's always hot,
Itchy.
itchy. Your allergies are blowing up through your nose. But I'm imagining hops are not like baling hay or straw.
Yeah, it's probably worse.
Oh, is it worse? Oh,
I worked on a dairy farm as a kid, so yeah, this is much worse.
so you
Well-
had a little bit of a background of farming when you got into this.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell us where they can find Jem's Farm Hops. I almost said Hop Farms, but Jem's Farm Hops again. Where can they find you guys?
Social media. If you want to come out to the farm and visit us, we're just outside of Carlisle. So, and I think I saw you guys had it posted up there where my phone number. That's the easiest way to get a hold of me. I know.
You said he's hard to keep still, right?
Absolutely.
Sorry, we can touch that up a little.
Yeah.
So yeah, Kevin, any last things?
No, I just thank you. You know, it's great learning about yourselves, the product line, and you know, just really how it all goes together. And again, I never thought we'd have the opportunity to have so many great people on and guests and learn about the history. It's nice. Thank
Ben.
Thanks for your time. I'm all about. I'll give you some free labor that you were talking about earlier. Just don't smack me if I'm asking too many questions because it's all educational for us. So
Yeah,
We've been married for 30 years. He's used to lots of questions.
that's fair.
There you go.
Go 30 years. Well, congratulations.
Nice.
So it takes a skill in itself to manipulate a marriage that long. You know that
Indeed.
there's ups and downs in everything: business, marriage, relationships, friendships. So kudos to you guys.
Thank you.
Gabby, anything you want to say before we sign off?
Nothing on my mind. Nope.
Nothing on my mind. Isn't that a song, Dave? Nothing on my mind.
Yeah, nothing on my mind. Yeah.
Any last comments, guys? I appreciate it.
Thanks for having us. This has been great.
It's been great. Do you feel a little bit more relaxed now after we've been just conversing a little bit?
Yeah, we probably should have started with
the
a
beer.
beer to, you know.
Yeah, that's a good.
We've had people do that before. They walk
Oh.
in, they're nervous, and they start pregame, and then it's all right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We've had people that's gone through the entire podcast, you know, getting refills about every 20 minutes.
No, not us.
Yeah. And it wasn't this size.
No. So we appreciate you guys the time. Ben, one last time, where can they find us?
At Central PA Pour on all social.
Yep. So, and if you got a question, comment, give us a like on all our social medias. Follow us on YouTube. and we're trying to grow that channel. CentralPAPour@gmail.com. Email us with all your comments. If you got somebody out there like these lovely people to go visit, hey, you got to go see this place. Let us know. We do have one last cheers beer here. I appreciate it. Thank you for your service again for your 22 years. Thank you both for helping out with the Adapt and Overcome to support the Keystone families of veterans. That is just so important to all of us, and it should be. So our cheers beer, before we cheers it out, is I went to St. Boniface's, and this is from them. This was on a motorcycle ride coming back from the Mid-Atlantic World War II weekend is when I stopped there. So this is our cheers beer. It is, I might mess it up, the Hegemony and Imperial Stout. So again, look us up on Central PA Pour. By all means, give Gems Farm Hops a like, follow, give them a call, email them, however you want to get in touch with them. They're doing a great job as a small family business. We appreciate your time again. Thank you very much. Let's all raise a glass, grab one with the Central PA Pour and the CPP crew, and Gems Farm Hops, and let's all be bonded by beer. Cheers.